Everybody, welcome back. We'll get started. It's 10 o'clock. Om. 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 Ganana Tva Ganapatigum Havamahe Kavin Kavinamupamashravastamam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspatan Shrunvannutibhissi Dasadanam Prano Devi Saraswati Vajebhirvajinivati Dhinamavityavate Om Ganeshaya Namaha Om Saraswatyai Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Shuklam Varadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Vadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Vagishadya Sumanasah Sarvarthanam Upakrame Yam Natva Kritakritya Syuhu Tam Namami Gajananam Vakratunda Mahakaya Koti Surya Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhirbhavatu Me Sada Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashiva Samarambham Śaṅkara Āchārya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Gnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharya Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhāṣya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Ved Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Yasya Sannidhi Matrena Sarve Shishyascha Sevakaha कर्मक्षेत्रे प्रवर्तन्ते चिन्मयं तं नमाम्यहम् चिन्मयं तं नमाम्यहम्. Let us do the Gita Dhyanam. ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्. नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः. प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः. सर्वोपनिषदो गावः दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्. वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरु. भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजना गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकर दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलम् गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटम् नानाख्यानककेसरम् हरिकथा सम्बोधनबोधितम् लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानम् मुदा भूयाद्भारतपङ्कजम् कलिमल प्रध्वंसिन श्रेयसे. मूकं करोति वाचालम् पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिम् यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्. यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुराः सुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः. सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यः मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः. शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभांगं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगिहृद्ध्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णुं भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथं नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. Hari Om everybody. Welcome back to our weekly Vedanta classes on SRIMAD BHAGAVAD GITA, Gita Bhāva Dhārā series. So in chapter 1, called Arjuna Vishada Yoga, we saw that Arjuna, at a very critical moment, right in the middle of the battlefield, he was completely overcome by grief, shoka, due to his deep attachment, raga, leading to delusion, moha. So after rationalizing his emotional discomfort as dharma, Arjuna had come to the conclusion that withdrawing from this war is the only solution. We saw that Arjuna was a great warrior. Here, he was not defeated by his arch rivals or enemies on the opposing side, but from his own mind. His own emotions had defeated him. So we saw also that initially Bhagavan Krishna chastised him for his unmanly behavior, tries to shake him up a bit, and then realizes this Arjuna's identity confusion is too deep to be resolved by any superficial methods or any cursory methods. Then the turning point comes. Karpanya doshopahata svabhavaha. In 2-7, we saw Arjuna here, through his intellectual honesty, admits he has got a problem. This was the turning point. Arjuna's Sharanagati. Arjuna told Bhagavan Krishna, Nischitam Bruhi. Decisively tell me my Shreya Marga, what is absolutely good for me. Shishyasteham Chadimam Tvam Prapannam. Take me as your disciple, guide me, teach me. I take refuge in you, Prapannam. I surrender to you. In this case, Bhagavan himself is the Guru. This goes to show, once the human discovers the seeker in him, the Guru will appear. The Vedantic teaching can take place only between a Guru and a Shishya. knowledge begins to flow only then, after the surrender. And Arjuna here, he confesses the confusion. He exhibits intellectual honesty. That act of humility, that act of surrender, here is the turning point. This is when Gita truly begins from a teaching standpoint. So Bhagavan Krishna straight away attacks Arjuna's idea, wrong notion that the war is going to harm his grandfather Bhishma, his teacher Dronacharya, his relatives, all his arguments. He tears it down. We saw last week that Bhagavan Krishna, in his lesson on grief management to Arjuna, gives several reasons to establish why Arjuna needs to fight here on the battlefield, to fulfill his duty, to perform his dharma as a kshatriya. So he starts with the adhyatmika drishti, Jnana drishti in 2-11, Ashocyananvashocastvam. Hey Arjuna, you're grieving for those who are not to be grieved. From the standpoint of their true nature, from the standpoint of Atma, Bhishma, Drona, and all others that you are grieving are all immortal. We saw last week that self, the Satvastu, remains unchanged in all three periods of time, the past, the present, and the future. He is not subject to any sort of change. Gata soon agata soonscha nanushocanti panditaha. So he says the wise, they never grieve, neither for the living nor for the dead, because the living body, as we know, constantly is changing from moment to moment, and the dead body is another transition. And the Dehi, just as it remains changeless, through my child's body, through my youthful body, through my adult body in 2-13, Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara. It remains unchanging at my death of this body also. So we can say it is deathless in all bodies. The real, the one which is real, is the Atma that never perishes. It always exists. It never becomes non-existent. He proves that point in 2-16. Nasato vidyate bhavaha, na bhavo vidyate satah. We saw that then in 2-19. It cannot be killed as a subject. It cannot be killed as an object. It cannot prompt killing. It is that Sakshi Swarupa. It is that witness principle. Then Bhagavan Krishna gave him a direct quote from the Kathopanishad. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit Nayam bhutva Bhavita Vana Bhuyah Ajo Nitya Shashvatoyam Puranah Nahanyate Hanyamane Sharire. In this verse, Bhagavan Krishna, here he is negating all possible modifications. That Atma is Ajaha, birthless. It is Nityaha. It does not die. It is eternal. It does not come into being. It does not cease to be. Eliminating all of the Shadvikaras. As we know, students of Vedanta, that our gross body, our Stula Sharira, goes through 6 modifications. All the Shadvikaras are eliminated. And also, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, by giving this kind of teaching, he is inculcating fearlessness in Arjuna. Look, if you are unborn, what exactly are you afraid of? He points out to Arjuna that this Atma is beyond all of the material causation. And then, in one more verse, he establishes that indestructibility. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na chainam kledayantyapah, na shoshayati marutah. Bhagavan Krishna here is establishing the indestructibility of Atma, that it is indestructible. Shastra and Astra. It cannot be destroyed by weapons. It cannot be blown by air. It cannot be burnt by fire. It cannot be wetted by water. All the 4 elements cannot affect it. So in summary, what did he do? From the highest knowledge perspective, from a adhyatmika drushti, from a gnana drushti, our takeaway. The body perishes, the self is not. Self is neither the doer nor the experiencer of killing. Akarta abhokta. Atma is ajaha, unborn, avinashi, undying, changeless. And the true self is beyond all physical forces. So Bhagavan Krishna here is first teaching him that changeless principle, that witness principle, that substratum. So what did he do by this? Bhagavan Krishna is trying to dismantle his body identification, his dehatma bhava, his doership, sense of doership, kartritva. And he is inculcating abhayatva, fear of mortality. Because that is the ultimate fear of all human beings, the fear of death. Now, Bhagavan Krishna tells Arjuna, he comes down a notch. He sees Arjuna is just glaring at the sky. Okay, even if you consider yourself as a jiva, even then there is no need to grieve. So let's see what he says. Let's take one example from 2-12. Natve vaham jatu nasam natvam neme janadhipaha natve vaham jatu nasam natvam neme janadhipaha न चैव न भविष्यामः न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे वयमतः परम्. So here the jiva or the jivatma, the reflection of the pure being, he says it exists from the beginningless time. What it does, it continues its journey through many bodies until it is liberated. Or we can say, until it realizes itself to be the pure self or pure being. So the jivatma is always there in some body or the other, and it never perishes. Again, what Bhagavan Sri Krishna here is driving, the eternal nature of existence. Consciousness. Driving that Upanishadic thought that it is never absent, it never becomes asat. So the individual jiva identifies with this body at birth, disassociates with it, much similar to how we discard our old clothes. Let's look at that verse 2-22. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya Navani grunnati naroparani Navani grunnati naroparani Tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani Tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani Anyani sayyati navani dehi. This jiva keeps on changing the body. How? Like we change our old clothing. Bhagavan Krishna here is driving the point that this embodiment is temporary. It is transitory. He's saying if there is a birthday for each one, that is a reminder to all of us that the end date is nearing by one more year. This shloka also provides a basis for rebirth in our scripture. As a group, we have studied Upadeshasara from Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. We know that the Lord is the karma dhyaksha. The Lord is the karma phaladhata, giver of the result. He decides when this karmic account for this birth is settled, knowing that if someone passes away, we bid farewell to them on their onward journey. A couple of more points to consider here. One might argue, we don't know what happens after death. Nor do we remember what happened before this birth. And we must thank God for that. Otherwise, there would have been chaos. Imagine we are dealing with each other in one birth. Imagine we knew each other from several births. Then chaotic situation. So one Kannada poet and philosopher, Dr. D.V. Gundappa, DVG is called Dr. DVG, he very cleverly puts it, Maranadim mundenu. What life after death? Bhutavo pretavo. Is it a ghost? Paralokavo. Is it a different world? Punarjanmavo. Is it rebirth, transmigration? Tirugi bandavarilla, varadi tandavarilla. Nobody has come back to give us a report on that. There is no empirical data. Daraya balge darinem mankutimma. Meaning, here he is asking the question, how should that matter for life here and now? In this class, we look at Shruti Pramana, we look at Yukti, logic, we look at Anubhuti. So if we know there are references in Kathopanishad and many other Upanishads, this verse of Bhagavad Gita 2-22 that we just chanted, they provide the scriptural authority or Shruti Pramana for basis on rebirth. Even in Puranas like Bhagavad Purana or Itihasa such as Ramayana, there is a mention that an individual continues to be reborn until he attains moksha or liberation. Then we know there is the concept of papa and punya, the concept of hell and heaven. Supports that theory that the individual soul survives death, experiences heaven or hell in some other form. But for many people, the scriptures say it, that faith in the scripture is sufficient basis for rebirth. But then we need more. How can this logically be true? So we say in Vedanta, if we do not accept rebirth, first we say there is akrita abhyagama dosha, meaning there is a fallacy of effect without a cause. How can there be effect without a cause? In that fallacy, we see regularly this dichotomy in this world. We see some are born poor, some are very rich, some are healthy. No matter what they eat, nothing happens to them. Some are unhealthy. And we see also some child prodigies. solving very complex math problems at a very young age, or playing a piano or a musical instrument at the age of 3. On the other bookend, we see not so bright kids. No matter where we send them, nothing gets through their thick skull. I still remember in the annual Gita chanting competitions, there was always one child, very young, who can't even read or write, would come up to chant the whole chapter flawlessly. This all goes to show that Jiva is starting where it left off. That samskara is there. The other logical fallacy is krita vipranasha dosha. Like some people, we keep on performing even if it is good actions or bad actions. Throughout their life, they do that. Then you wonder, how can this happen? Nothing happens to them. They may not be getting any results throughout that life. We have seen that happen. Then in some cases, anubhuti. There are cases where they remember where they were previously born, their houses, their place of birth. Some people who have had near death experiences come back to describe it all, how it felt. Just wanted to share a couple of things there. When Bhagavan Krishna comes down one more notch, dials it down for Arjuna and all of us, ask the question, who is grieving? It is the mind that grieves. It is the mind that feels elated when it is happy. How? Out of the contacts with the object. So let's look at that relevant shloka in the second chapter. Matra sparshastu kaunteya. Matra sparshastu kaunteya. Shitoshna sukha dukkadaha. Shitoshna sukha dukkadaha. Agama payino nityaha. Tam stitikshasva bharata. Matra sparshastu kaunteya. When we come in contact with these objects through the sense organs by letting the mind go out and perceive them, what does it bring? It brings in these dvandvas, these pairs of opposites. Shita, Ushna, cold, heat, Sukha, Dukkha, happiness, sorrow, all the pairs of opposites. I don't have to go through them. Thoughts by themselves cannot last in the mind for more than a fraction of a second. But what do? We bring them back again and again. Our joy, our sorrows, our fears, our anxieties. What Bhagavan Krishna here is saying, thoughts by themselves, agama apayi. The thoughts, they come and go on their own. There is no need to pull them or push them out. knowing that it will also pass, he says we can endure that sorrow while it lasts. What Bhagavan Krishna is telling us here is that the joys and sorrows have an arrival, has a departure. Agama apayi. It is unreasonable to expect only joys in our lives. There'll always be a mixture of joy and sorrow. So Gita here is teaching us that all sorrows have a beginning and an end. Adi and Anta. And Bhagavan Krishna is telling us, smile through it. He reinforces this further in 2-15. Yam hina vyathayantyete purusham purusharshabha samadukha sukham dhiram somrutattvaya kalpate. Second line is very important. See, we have no choice in what we get. We know from our karma siddhanta, when the karma phala fructifies, we get the results. Bhagavan Shri Krishna is telling us the sensible way to endure is not to curse and complain, not to lament, kind of like the pain management, most of your doctors in the audience, after the surgery, how these doctors help us to bear the pain. Thank God for those painkillers. Kind of pain management. Sama dukkha sukham dhiram somrutattvaya kalpate. He's telling us in terms of pain management, due to sorrow or grief, we need to develop titiksha. Tam titikshasva bharata. We just completed a marathon sessions on Viveka Chudamani. In Viveka Chudamani, Bhagavan Adi Śaṅkaracharya ji says, Sahanam sarva dukkhanam apratikara purvakam chinta vilaparahitam satitiksha nigadhyate. Titiksha, cheerful acceptance, enduring it without lamenting, not complaining quietly also. That is titiksha. This is fortitude, forbearance. That is what we need to develop. Bhagavan Krishna is saying, or like they say, this too shall pass. That kind of an attitude. Then Bhagavan Krishna tells him, 2-26, Atha chainam nitya jatam nityam va manyase mrutam tatha pitvam mahabaho naivam shochitum arhasi. Up to this point, from 2-12 to 25, what Bhagavan Krishna did, he has already established that self is unborn, self is eternal, self is indestructible, And when we have so much identification with the body, I consider the body as this self, wrong notion, dehatma bhava. And as students of Vedanta, we know when I identify with my stula sharira, I say I am fat, I am thin, I am tall, I am short, I am fair. All these body attributes we describe ourselves. I superimpose this on the self, but the body, by its very nature, is dying moment to moment. I believe this is scientifically true. All our cells, except the brain cells, they say, gets replenished every 7 years. And I also jokingly say, this body also has expired. It is 50% used. We can't return it. Warranty is expired. So every product we purchase, whether it is milk, whether it is medicine, they all have a manufacturing date and they have an expiry date. Correct? Like that, we also have an expiry date for this body. Following that simple universal rule, if it is born, it will have to perish. It shall perish. That which perishes will be born again. That is nature's law. So we know the Stula Sharira, the gross body, is made up of Pancha Mahabhutas, 5 great elements. When the body perishes, it goes back to become those great elements where it came from. We studied that in Tattva Bodha. And gets recreated from them again. So here, why worry and grieve that which is inevitable? That is our takeaway. That is going to happen anyway. We just don't know when. Now Bhagavan gives Arjuna advice from a dharmic perspective. His swadharma. We know from the story of Mahabharata, Arjuna was a born Kshatriya. Before this great war, he had fought many regional battles. He had a great reputation as a great archer of those times. He had taken the side of Dharma in this Dharma Yuddha to protect his society from the enemies within and enemies outside. Like we say, both from foreign and domestic. He had also taken that oath. Therefore, Arjuna is fighting the war would be dharmic. That is his dharma. And not doing so would be adharma. So here, Bhagavan is saying, where is the grief in one doing his own dharma? Let's look at that verse. 2-31. Swadharmamapi chavekshya navikampitumārhasi dharmyadhiyuddha shreyonyate kshatriya kshatriyasya na vidyate. Arjuna needs to fight this war to establish that dharmic order in this society. Kshatriya must look at the problem not from a personal standpoint, but from a big picture social standpoint. So Bhagavan Krishna is telling him, reminding him that this is your swadharma, your duty. You should not waver from your duty. Dharmyardhi yuddha shreyonyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. This is a great honor for a kshatriya, Arjuna. Then he continues in 2-32 that argument. Yadruchaya chopapannam swargadvaramapavrutam sukhina kshatriya partha labhante yuddhamidrusham. Dharmic actions, righteous actions, that is our duty. Bhagavan Krishna says, when they have come to us unasked and is in line with our dharma, yadruchaya chopapannam swargadvaramapavrutam, they are our gateway to heaven. They are our gateway to lasting joy and prosperity. But cautionary note in 2-33. Ata chetvamimam dharmyam sangramam na karishyase tata swadharmam kirtim cha hitva papamavapsyasi. Arjuna, tata swadharmam kirtincha. If you shirk away from your duty, if you waver from your duty, hitva papamavapsyasi, you will incur sin. That brings tension, that brings suffering. Then Bhagavan Krishna starts from a worldly perspective. He needs to come down one more notch. What happens? Akirtim chapi bhutani kathayishyanti te vyayam sambhavitasya chakirtim chakirtihi maranadatirichyate. We'll chant the 35th one also, and then I'll explain on the other side. Vayadranaduparatam mansyante tvam maharathaha yeshanchatvam bahumatah bhutva yasyasi laghavam. Hey Arjuna, when you do these dharmic actions, when you do these righteous actions, if you don't do, if you run away from this battlefield, imagine what would happen to your reputation. Most of us are worried about that, fear of reputation. What will the society think? This is worse than death. Bhayadranaduparatam mansyante tvam maharataha. All those great warriors, and he is thinking of Duryodhana here. What will they think? They will call you a coward who ran away from the battle. Imagine that disgrace, Arjuna. On the other hand, Hato va prapsyase swargam jitva va bhoksyase mahim tasmad uttishta kaunteya yuddhaya kruta nischayah. Uttishta. Hato va prapsyasi swargam jitva va bhoksyase mahim. All soldiers, warriors who die in this line of duty are believed to go to heaven. Veera Swarga, we say. If you win this war, Arjuna, it'll bring all of the worldly pleasures, kingdom. Tasmad Uttishta Kaunteya. Get up and fight. See how he has notched down his argument to shake up Arjuna from his delusion. First, Bhagavan Krishna gave him the Adhyatmika Drushti, not to grieve. He gave him Nitya, Anitya Viveka. What is permanent? What is impermanent? And this knowledge is the Apurvata or novelty of Bhagavad Gita, exclusive to Bhagavad Gita. Then he gave him the Dharmika Drushti, asking him to evaluate from your duty perspective, from your role in the society. Then he gave him a Laukika Drushti, worldly perspective. What would the world think, Arjuna, if for your reputation? What happens if you run away from this battle? See how he is trying to bring his arguments. Then Bhagavan Krishna shifts gear. He brings in and begins to introduce Karma Yoga. We will cover that next week. But before that, we will do Namasmaranam. We will do the fifth verse today. Achyutam Keshavam Ramanarayanam Krishna Damodaram Vasudevam Harim Sridharam Madhavam Gopika Vallabham Janaki Nayakam Ramachandram Bhaje. Rakshasa Shobhitah Sitaya Shobhito Dandakaranya Bhu Punyata Karanah Lakshmano Nanvito Vanarai Sevito Agastya Sampujito Raghavah Patumam. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrutyorma Amrutam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat. May all be happy. May all be healthy. May all see auspiciousness. May none suffer. Om peace, peace, peace. With that, I'll open it up for our interactive session. Please stay back if your schedule permits. I would really appreciate your comments and thoughts. Thank you.